All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Triad Expeditions, and in this episode we continue our Can-Am Maverick X3 modification series. We are going to be attempting, and I say attempting on purpose, to mount our rigid lights. So we have these rigid 360 6-inch round lights, and we have them in a couple different colors, and we'll talk about that more later, as we have numerous times in our previous videos. We've done some prep work prior to the light bar rack mount arriving, and that is surface mounting our junction boxes. So we have two openings on these junction boxes. There's a total of 3, one being supply, and then 2 of the lights will be wired the same, and the other 2 will be wired the same. So we have we're going to have a total of 4 switches on the Switch Pro, one to control each of the backlighting, since we wanted to be able to run the amber lights going down the road as side markers, basically, or rooftop markers, so that oncoming traffic can kind of see us a little bit better as we go down the road, and the full width of our vehicle, maybe to get somebody's attention. But we will not be running the white backlights, as they are not DOT approved. So we'll talk about more description and the selection of the lights as we get them mounted up there, hopefully. And what we are going to be using to do that is the approved installation, the approved product. And this is a Taiwanese product, unfortunately, but there is not a whole bunch of solutions out there. I had initially ordered a Baja rack product that I've bought many of their products in the past, but they are so far behind during this last year of COVID that it was going to be a pretty substantial amount of time yet to get that product. So I figured I would try this and see how it worked out, and maybe we'll put some custom loops on it later, but we're going to see how it looks initially. So the instructions are terrible, as usual, but it is a pretty straightforward product. It does kind of crack me up in the sense that it does not really, first off, they didn't include any washers on the outside, which I think that they should have. Well, I guess they do show some instructions here. I totally missed that page, so I have to kind of go back on my word here a little bit. So yeah, not too bad. Gives you tools that you need and included items. How did I miss that? That's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, and it's step by step. Gives you photos for each step. So yeah, I stand corrected. So it doesn't look hard at all. Let's get that up here, and we'll talk about how it went. All right, so that did not take long before we had to do something different than the instructions wanted us to do. Let me go around here because the light is shining in a particular way here in the garage. So let me turn this light on so you guys can see better. So the bolts are supposed to go here and here. So don't tell anybody, but I ended up installing it differently. And I don't think it looks terrible. Obviously it would have been better if the bracket would have been designed properly to kind of raise it up just a little bit higher. And I can understand why you'd want to keep your light bar as low as possible, but I think it was really just a matter of them just trying to save on material and make this thing as cheap as possible. That's my accusation there. So what it looked like when I had installed it here was, with the bolts in the original location, it hit the windshield wiper. So that was the big disconnect. That was the reason why I had to do what I did. So basically what I did is I put the bottom hole, the one that's supposed to be here, I put it there, drilled through the side plate here of the roll bar, and just kind of pushed it right up against the roof rack there. So it was pretty easy to reference it and make it even on both sides because of that. I actually left just a little bit of space in there, a little bit of air gap, so that way it won't squeak or something like that. So the result of that is I do have another hole there if I need to mount something off to the side, and I can think of something right off the bat that would be kind of nice to put there, and that would be maybe like a ditch light. So I think that will probably, ditch lights were something that was already in the works as far as something that I wanted to put on here. I think, you know, that will be a good location. Get them up a little bit higher so that they are sort of in line, or higher so that they will broadcast downward a little bit more and get a little more coverage in the ditch areas. So yeah, so that's what we'll do with those holes, and the majority of them being mounted there will kind of hide the fact that this bracket isn't really lining up with the angles of the original rack there. So really nobody's going to know, especially once those rigid ditch lights are in place. So the result, I think what I was getting to was that it does definitely clear the windshield wiper now, and it actually elevates the light bar slightly. And so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to mount each one of these rigid lights. I'll go over here and show them to you on the freezer here real quick so you can see them. The good thing is that these max tracks are going to clear perfectly when I need to take them off, so that's not going to be any issue either. I would have liked to seen all the lights up a little bit higher, but along with that comes the fact that with the lights up higher, if you hit limbs and branches and stuff like that, obviously you can damage your lights. So the good thing is the max track's pretty sturdy up there. That will do a pretty good job of deflecting branches, so we'll see how that goes as time goes on, and if my assumption of how that's going to work out up there, it comes true. And obviously the thing that we're going to be showing you in the end is just the overall look. So just kind of, you know, look at it now without the lights on there, and then look at the lights that we have laid out here on top of the freezer. The two center lights being the spotlights, the two outside lights being the floodlights, and also the amber back lights. So we'll be showing you all of those here later in the video if you stick with us. The hardware is way more complicated or in depth than I had originally thought it would be, but the cool thing is it looks like it really gives you a pretty firm way of securely mounting these to where you can angle them to, you know, really dial them in. And so we'll do some more dialing in when we put this thing outside in the middle of the night, and you know, have the garage door down, and we'll align our headlights again because of the suspension work that we're doing. They will be off, these will be off, so there's no reason to really get too crazy about aligning them right now. So just keep that in mind if you're getting ready to do some major suspension work and change your springs out, which is what we are doing. Don't worry about aligning all this stuff. So we also, and I'm kind of telling you this preemptive because I probably will not be showing you a whole bunch of this before they're probably installed, unless I run into something of concern as usual. But we will be taking these leads and we will be splicing in our heavier duty cable to them so that we can properly run them through the jam nuts there to get a nice waterproof seal. These are undersized, so we cannot just feed those to the holes. We're actually going to have to do some heat shrinking and actually make a conversion there. Plus the leads aren't long enough in some cases, I think, to basically get from the passenger side all the way over to the driver's side outside there. It wouldn't go that far. So that is the other thing. So we'll be able to custom lengthen or shorten these leads to go into the junction boxes so that there's no extra cabling up there. And of course we're going to zip tie the cabling along the back side of this light rack. So pretty sturdy though. I did end up putting some nice big black washers on the bottom holes, so at least two of the holes, or one of the two holes, have some decent washers on the back side of there to kind of really give it some stability and secureness. But yeah, definitely the hardware could have been improved on this. So yeah, so all right, moving on. All right, so let's summarize on this light bar installation. We had decided to install the rigid lights, the 4 individual lights, and kind of give it more of a Baja type style look instead of the solid crossbar. And I think I'm pretty happy with the result. Originally I wanted to have like a hoop over the top, and that still might be something that we do eventually to kind of guard the lights and kind of give it a little more character, but still looking pretty good. We got the front off. Obviously, if you watch our previous videos, you can find out that we are getting ready to redo the whole front suspension and put the braces and everything else, and we're going to be also ordering our shock therapy lights or springs here soon. So all right, so let me get up here and I'll kind of show you what the result of the wiring was, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So there is the junction boxes that we utilized, and there's 2 of those, and then as you can see how all the wiring is wire loomed and routed nicely. The big thing that you want to make sure to do is to have everything secure, because also the stainless steel brackets that Rigid has with their lights are pretty sharp. So if you're going down the road, it's not going to take very much to basically cut into those. These lights are very high quality. I would say no doubt the highest quality lights that I have purchased thus far. I do look forward to someday buying some Baja design lights, you know, and also probably some Heretic lights in the future. Maybe those are what I'll get for the ditch lights, just to kind of mix things up a little bit and get a different flavor. So we'll see. Actually, I need to see, this is what I'm talking about right here. I need to zip tie this a little differently because it's up against that stainless steel bracket. So I'm not sure if maybe I can just manipulate this wire here and kind of get it off there, but that is exactly what I'm talking about. Probably maybe another zip tie in here, or something there to get that to lift up there. So yeah, you got to be careful with your wiring. There's all kinds of different things that obviously can you know, cut into it as you go down the road, and you know, you spend a lot of time wiring this stuff. You definitely don't want that to happen. So all right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stop the camera here. I'm going to turn the lights out, and then I'm going to show you the different functions of these lights so that you can see them. They are extremely bright, so I think you'll be impressed when you see them. You probably won't be able to get the full effect of them being here in the garage as you would outdoors, but still it will give you kind of the idea of what the backlighting looks like. It's still partial daylight outside, but it will get pretty dark in here overall. So all right, so we are in the dark here, and we just put the key in the car. So as you can tell, it is pretty dark in here. We're going to hit the dome light real quick, just once again to show you guys that in case you missed our dome light install video with the KC Highlights Cyclone dome lights, the Cyclone lights that people use for rock lights and dome lights and other things. So that gives us a little bit of illumination when we need to, and that is here on the Switch Pro. I don't like how this bar does come as close, and you know, but this was a good location for the switch bar. That is the only thing that I don't like. So let's turn on the ambers first. This will be the amber backlights, and what we're thinking that we will use for running lights as we go down the road. Obviously I don't have the headlights on, which is almost to our advantage right now, so we can kind of see what these look like. It is fairly dark in here, so those are the outer 2 lights, and that is the amber lights. And then the next thing I'm going to hit is the 2 inner lights, which are spotlights, and they are backlit with white. I think I could probably get away with probably running down the road this way, but you know, it just depends on what police officer might pull you over, or state trooper. You know, they're definitely off-road lights, so you would definitely risk getting in trouble for that. The ambers, I don't really see how they could cite you for that because they're pretty much like running lights. So that is the two outer driving lights backlit in amber, and then the two spotlights backlit in white. So that's what that looks like. And I kind of really didn't do that research all that much before I decided to do that, but I'm happy with the decision that I made to do that. So here is the floods, and you're not going to be able to really see that much anyways, but because everything is so bright. So I'm just going to kind of stumble over some things and just show you how bright, sorry about the camera work, how bright these are. I mean, they're just like super bright. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Let me kind of walk around here. I know the camera is just going to get washed out, but I kind of want to walk around here and just kind of show you guys, you know, what they look like on the car. And I'm pretty impressed with how bright they are. So yeah, it's definitely going to light the trail up. I probably will do like a review, like a walk around or something, and maybe show the car at night with the chase lights and everything else, and kind of just show you what the lighting is, especially when we get the ditch lights. So that'll probably be a separate video in the future. I'll just basically have a really nice dark evening and kind of show you how the lighting on the vehicle is, you know, chase lights and everything all at the same time. But I kind of wanted to break down this video as a separate video just to kind of give you guys some ideas and also to give you feedback on the light bar. So all right, well, we're progressing along nicely. We are projected to have our first event at the third week of March 2021, and we're barely gonna make it in time for this build to be complete. Still waiting on some more additional parts to show up, but I was in contact with them and they are ensuring me that they're going to be here in time, and then we'll get this over to RC Enterprises and get the front suspension all done. The reason why I'm kind of having them do it is because I am running out of time. I would like to do it myself just so that I'm more familiar with the components of everything in the front, but also I do want to have them do a really nice alignment at the same time, and then they have a rack to do it, so it will be easier for them to do it, especially with a second set of hands. Everything that I've done here on this car so far has been myself exclusively, so it has been a challenge at times without having a helper, and I know the front suspension will go a lot easier with that helper. So alright, well, thank you very much for watching. Everybody be safe and take care. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to continue to see these videos that we're producing for the X3 build, and then also some of the trips that will be taken later in this year. So we have some more exciting stuff that we're going to be doing in 2021. So alright, thank you.